Alrighty guys, so with solo leveling Arise, one thing that we need to cater to is skills. Now, obviously when solo leveling Arise first came about, I did a video talking about all the skills, which ones to level up, etc. Now, as time has gone on, I'm going to be truthful, there are only specific skills that I'm really using now more over anything else. Now, obviously, this isn't exactly something that the devs want to hear, since they're not a fan of that. They want everyone to use any type of, or all types of skills. But, truth be told, there are certain skills that are just going to be used very consistently more over others. And so I do want to go over those, and also give you guys a bit of a helping hand, because at the end of the day, working on skills, you know, you got to choose wisely, because of course it does require the scrolls, and they are somewhat hard to come by, especially once you start getting into the point of where they're requiring level 3 scrolls, and at times they will require 3 or 4 of them. So, you know, you do have to pick the best ones. Now, we'll start from the very top, and I'm literally just going to breeze through the ones that I just don't use. And I personally right now just don't see any usage out of them. So we have got the double slash, which I mean, I got lucky to get the rare versions of them. Just an FYI, if you do get the rare version of them, it does buff them up in terms of percentage and I believe damage, but I know percentage wise it does help it out. So for example, with this fire one, it increases my critical hit rate by 7% for 8 seconds, so it's not too bad in terms of getting that. But I've never really had any usage out of this at any point or any given moment did I say I need to use this, especially once you hit that 50% mark on your base stats for your character when it comes to crit rate, because realistically when using the skill increases damage of mutilate by 20%. I believe this is mutilate, correct me if I'm wrong. No, wait, which one's mutilate? Oh yeah, you don't really need that for damage. Yeah, so, and again, another thing is that some skills do correlate with other skills to buff them up, which is kind of giving you a combination, but nah. So yeah, the first one, honestly, I really wouldn't put scrolls into this, to be honest. Crushing blow, at the very beginning I did utilize this skill. As time has gone on, I only really catered to, I believe it's the fire one, to help me out in terms of the ultimate side of things. So like I said, in previous story mode in the chapter 18, this did help me out to get my ultimate. So if I am farming ultimate, and if I do have the ultimate gear set on, or the power gauge should I say, I will add this on. If I'm not even using that set, the gear set, to get my power gauge up, so that way I can get my ultimate more quicker, but I do want the power, the damage, then I will use this ruin. And I thankfully did get it in the rare form, so percentage wise I am getting more for my buck if it was just a rare. So yeah, I mean, at the early stages you can maybe level it up just a tad bit, but I wouldn't go too crazy. I will say the light version of it is pretty nice. This did help me out to fight Egress, but if you've got the weapons you'll be fine. But more importantly, it was the dark version of it that really did help me out, as it is a counter attack. So when the skill is used, it applies a shield equal to 20% of JINWOO's HP for 3 seconds, and then it counter attacks the enemy. So not only are we getting shield, not only are we counter attacking, but it provides heavy break and stuns. So this is the one that I used a lot, and then once I needed that ultimate support, then I went with that. And then yeah, you really don't need to cater to the other two, truth be told. I mean, yeah, I mean, this does give you a shield, but realistically the dark one is just a lot more better. So you can put a little bit levels into this, but don't go too crazy with it. Dagger toss, never have I ever use this, even when we, well, that's a lie actually, that's a lie, because we use that at the very beginning, don't we? The game makes us, I'm pretty sure. Never have I ever had to ever use this, never. Even though they gave me a rare version of this, nope, not using it. So that one I don't recommend. What's this one? Multi-strike. So multi-strike is another decent one, I will say. It was the dark version which I was using well, I did use a decent amount purely because of the medium break, but more importantly it did give me invincibility, which should help me out. And then obviously every time this skill hits, it increases damage by 2%, so you can get 4% on that, so it wasn't too bad. Again, I did put a little bit of levels into this, so early on if you want to kind of invest, then you can, just don't go too crazy. Again, I'll say it's more in line with the crushing blow, just to put a little bit levels in, but don't go too crazy, because this isn't the broken one. However, the dark version of it is fantastic. Obviously with the red version of it, you do get medium break, but more importantly, damage dealt to bosses and elite monsters increased by 30%. Honestly, this specific buff on skills are just a fan favorite. I'm just going to say it right now, so can't sleep on that, especially if the enemy has fire weakness. This is actually pretty decent too. So yeah, so not too bad. I've never ever used the water one, I'm not gonna lie. So yeah, realistically it is just the dark and the fire. I don't have like, so I don't know. You get super armor when the skill hits, increases critical hit rate by 3% for 8 seconds. When the skill hits, resets cool. Okay, yeah, you don't really need that, to be honest. If you just work on your hit rate, you don't really need to cater to that. So it will be just dark and fire that you just need to focus on. So again, a little bit of levels into crushing blow, a little bit of levels into multi-strike. They are usable, they are pretty decent. So yeah, I will give them the thumbs up, because again, beforehand I did use them. I'm using more consistently is crushing blow, fire element to get that ultimate. Moving along to vertical arts, I've never used this, never really thought about having to actually use this. Actually, you know what we can do? Alright, so yeah, vertical arts, I've never really had to utilize this at any point. Again, you've got the counter attack, you've got the shield, you've got the stun. I would still resort to the death blow over this. True, yeah, I think that's how I would look at it. You don't really need to cater to that. Yeah, I mean, this done. I mean, we do get that boss and elite monster increased by 45%, but there's better options to go about that. So yeah. Well, then again, you are getting an extra 15% over here. But yeah, this one. I mean, yeah. But yeah, I guess you just got to keep in mind of the movement, because it is a projectile. But yeah, I've never really utilized vertical art, so I'm just going to leave that be. Cutting rush is one of the best ones, predominantly the one that I'm using right now. So this one right here does a ton of damage, increased damage dealt to targets in a break state by 70%. This hits like an absolute truck. This is one of the skill runes I have put levels into, and if you've seen previous gameplay videos of mine, it is one of my favorite skills that I use the most. The second side of it I don't ever use. I've never actually used this. When the skill hits, reset, cools down. No, when the skill is used, increase critical hit. Oh, that's not too bad if I want to get that critical hit damage rate up. All right, but yeah, I've never really used that. Yeah, I don't ever want that. Don't care for that. When landing, a back attack has a 20% chance to apply 100% critical hit rate on the next attack. This could be utilized in such a crazy way if it's 100%. Especially like with like the west wind, like weapons that can charge up and do one big hit, like a big burst, one big burst. Then effectively this skill right here is so broken. But no, so with the kite and rush, realistically, it is this specific skill that you want to cater to. This is one of the great ones, I will say. And so if I am able to get like a rare version of it or a legendary version of it, then that 70%, I assume will go to 100% once it hits legendary. And so when it comes to rare, 85%, so I say. But yeah, this hits like an absolute truck. Vital Strike is also one of the beauts, I will say. So you've got the first one, which increases the attack by 7% for 12 seconds, so that's not too bad, you know, if you guys want to utilize that. You've got another one that can decrease the target's defense by 15%. I mean, that's not too bad in terms of if you want to double stack, because you can shadow step too and decrease defense by that. But the one that sells and hits hard is Hone In. Does a lot of damage, one of the best ones in terms of damage if that's what you're looking for. And as you guys can see, 45% increased damage to bosses and elite monsters. So when it comes to Vital Strike, you want to focus on Hone In. This is one of the hardest. So you got the Cut and Rush version of it being called Annihilation. This hits hard. And when it comes to Vital Strike, Hone In, these two are a beaut. Alright, in terms of damage, if that's what you're looking for. Obviously, there's a water one with the shield. You don't really care for that, to be honest. But yeah, I would say the first one is not too bad. The Decimate, which I've never really used, but I wouldn't mind that 7% increase damage. That could yeah, that might come in handy. But yeah, Hone In is the one, is the bread and butter. When it comes to Mutilate, it really is this specific attack right here, because it is giving you AoE crowd control to freeze. So in an AoE situation, you can, if you choose to utilize this. However, there is a better specific crowd control skill that I think is more used over this. But This is also another alternative to use, so you can't sleep on it. But I think the remaining ones you don't really need to concern yourself with, because I think it is just a water version of it that really is the big seller for the Mutilate Ruin, to be honest. Oh yeah, no, this is bad. Yeah, so the water and the dark one, because the dark one, there is a 20% chance that the hunter will ignore 100% of the target's defense. But I would say the water one is more prioritized over the dark one. But when it comes to Mutilate, it is pretty much the two element versions of it that are kind of used the most. But the water one is more used over, because of course you've got the freeze and you've got the frostbite to do damage over time. So there's that. That being said, when it comes to the other crowd control, which you guys have probably seen in recent fights, this is the best crowd control skill for the most part, purely because, you know, everything is being pushed into one specific area, and then at that point it's just using your skills and whatnot, or just doing a ton of damage to eliminate them in one big strike. So yeah, obviously they are taking damage over time. It does barely any damage. It's more for just kind of grouping them up. So depending on the number of targets this skill hits, increases the damage dealt to normal monsters by 10%. So for the most part, it is going to be normal monsters that you're kind of pulling all together. And so yeah, you are effectively actually killing them off by this, because this does enough damage to actually yeah, take kill them all. So yeah, there's that. This skill is one of the worst ones. Don't use it. The charge up on that is horrible. This does nothing for you, I'm not gonna lie. Sure, no. This one I don't have unlocked, but yeah, I wouldn't really effectively use this one too. When the skill hits, the user recovers 3% of their MP and 3% of their power gauge. I mean, if you're catering to that and if you need that, then fair play, but I think for the most part that's not going to be the case. So it is honestly just the first one. Would I put levels into this? No, not really. If you want to, you can do so, but it's not there for damage. It's more for just kind of crowd control, like I said. Especially with Mutilate, again, I mean, if you want to put a little bit of damage into it, because I mean, this would effectively will help you out in terms of getting crowd control as well as doing some damage. It's worth it, since I mean, the percentage is there, doing a decent amount of damage as well as the frostbite, so you might as well put a little bit of time into it, but don't go too crazy. I wouldn't say this is a broken one, but it is effective. So that's the two crowd control ones. Armor break, of course, this is one of the brand new ones. I've only used it for the story. It's not bad. As of right now, I wouldn't go too crazy in terms of leveling. I mean, well, I did level it up just a tad bit. So if you guys want to use your level 1 scrolls just to kind of get it going a little bit, you know, get the damage up there, then you can do so. You can really bounce off from getting that crit hit damage by 30%. That is really, really solid to have. And then, of course, keep in mind with the almighty break, that is not bad in terms of the breakage it provides. Again, unfortunately, I've not had the pleasure of using the others, but I think, if anything, it would be the light version that I would like to have after next. I really do not. Well, then again, when the skill hits, increases the target's damage taken by 7. Oh, that's not too bad. The winds one's not too bad. We can make use of it. But yeah, I think light is kind of where I'm at. So, yeah, armor break, I would say, if you want to level it up, use your level 1 scrolls. Don't go any further more on, and then just kind of chill from there, of course. But I specifically saved the best till last, and that is Death Stance. Now, thankfully, the game is giving everyone a rare version of the light death stance called Earth Shock. So once you do your login, at the end of it, you get a rare version of this, which means your critical hit damage will go up by 30% for 8 seconds. We'll double check, but yeah, this is one of the better ones. Now, with Death Stance, I mean, you don't really need to concern yourself with the wind one. And honestly, you don't really need to concern yourself with the fire one. Although I did try and use it, because of course it does give you the element weakness advantage play, which, I mean, it's not too bad. But if you've got the Blessing Stone going, which I do have, I'm kind of comfortable using that, because I would much rather ensure that I have the Eruption. Now, the Eruption, amazing breakage, insane amount of damage, and I just recently managed to get the rare version of it. So before, I think it said 50%, so I've got it now to 75% more damage to bosses and elite monsters. So Death Stance is 100% one of the big boy ones that you want to level up if you are trying to get damage. The dark version is number 1 and the light version is number 2. Those are the two that I cater to the most. The dark version of Death Stance, being Eruption, I always have on my JINWOO. Always. Always, always, always. The breakage is insane. The damage is beautiful. It's just one of the ones that you want to work on. And then through that, you can really combine with the Honing, as well as Annihilation to maximize your damage, and that's for the most part what I've been using for most fights. So there's that. So yeah, that is kind of what I would say. So Death Stance being the Dark and Light version, Hone In from Vital Strike, Annihilation from the Cut and Rush. Obviously with the Crushing Blow it will be the Fire and the Dark element if you guys want to put a little bit of time into that. Multi-Strike, it was more for the Dark version of it, to be honest. Yep. And then, if you want to put a little bit first levels into Armor Break, go for it. I feel like this could potentially come in handy, maybe. And then, of course, when it comes to crowd control, you really don't need to go too crazy on the Commander's Touch, being the Black Hole. But Mutilate with Cold Storm, I mean, you can put a little bit of levels into it, so that way you've got that decent damage for the crowd control, as well as the Frostbite. So, yeah, it's not too bad. So, yeah, that's what I'll do. And then, of course, when it comes to the QTE skill, you always want to cater to it. I mean, mine's at level 3 at the minute, but I'll put levels into it. And then the ultimate skill, I'm trying to max out my my ultimate skill. Wait, can I max it out? Is it doable? Do I have enough? Let's have a look. Level up. Oh, hey, don't mind if I do. Well, when in Rome, there we go. Am I one off? Ah, damn it, I'm one off. Right. So I need one more of these materials. Ah, god damn it. Oh, level 80 required. What the heck? Okay, well, I didn't know that. I didn't have to be level 80 for that. Yeah, hopefully you guys get lucky when you are opening up these, and even if you don't get the ruins, hopefully with the fragments that you guys can craft something good. But yeah, there we go. This is the one. So yeah, as you guys can see, initially it was 20%, but because it's the rare version, it's 30%. So, and then if it's a legendary, it goes to 50%. Yeah, so it's beautiful. The fact that they're giving this to everyone, it's one of the good ones, boys. It's one of the good ones. So yeah, that's pretty much the skills and what I've been using and utilizing the most. And in terms of damage, yeah, that's what I've been using.